Greetings, wanderers in the fog. Welcome back to the shadows. Your guide this evening is Violet Nocturne. And our tale? Oh, it isn't for the faint-hearted. Tonight, we meet the Hollow Watcher. Do step closer, won't you? The darkness has a way of devouring the hesitant. Are you familiar with small, out-of-the-way towns? The kind where secrets are buried not beneath the soil, but within the hearts of its inhabitants? Tonight, I venture to one such place. Woodmere, a quaint village tucked away in the folds of an endless forest. Time obeys no rules here. Days bleed into one another like ink spills, smudging reality. It is here that our story begins. The village had one peculiar tradition. The harvest vigil held each autumn. Rustic charm would fool outsiders into thinking it was harmless, a festival celebrating the end of the harvest season. Yet locals whispered the truth to their children on the coldest nights. The vigil wasn't for gratitude, it was for protection. For as long as anyone could remember, a wooden figure stood in the town square, a scarecrow carved from gnarled oak, its hollowed eyes gleaming faintly in the moonlight. Its name was the Hollow Watcher. Passed down through generations, the effigy was no mere decoration. It was said to watch, to warn, and to devour. Now, this is where our tale takes its grisly turn. Enter our protagonist, Lawrence, an ambitious young historian with a penchant for debunking folklore. Ah, Lawrence, so cocky, so sure of his rational mind. He heard of Woodmere as nothing more than a curiosity, a pit stop for filling his journal with yet another tale to dismantle. But this time, the truth had claws sharper than his skepticism. Lawrence arrived just days before the vigil, his notebooks brimming with research and mockery alike. He interviewed the townsfolk, chuckling at their fearful glances toward the square. Just wood, he murmured to himself as he studied the Hollow Watcher by lantern light. Superstitious nonsense. But Violet's words are here to remind you, darlings, not all nonsense is hollow. His first night in Woodmere was restless. As the town slept beneath a canopy of rustling leaves, Lawrence sat in the inn, poring over old newspaper clippings and diaries lent by the ever-reluctant residents. In every account, the pattern persisted. A townsperson would disrespect the statue during harvest vigil preparations, and the very next day, they'd vanish. No violence, no bodies, just gone. Lawrence scoffed. Coincidence. Always coincidence. The second night was his first mistake. He couldn't resist testing the Watcher's powers. Fueled by a mix of bourbon and arrogance, he strode to the town square at midnight. The streets were silent, save the groan of the forest's branches. And good heavens, there the Hollow Watcher stood, a splintered guardian against starlight, its expression void, yet accusing. Lawrence smirked as his shadow fell across its weathered form. "Show me your wrath," he sneered, pulling a match from his coat pocket. "Let's see what superstition burns down to." He struck the match. Truly, some choices are daggers in disguise. The flame touched the wood, but before it charred, the wind rose. With no storm in sight, its force extinguished the tiny blaze. And accompanied by the wind was a whisper. No. A movement? No. A warning. Too rational for his own good, Lawrence dismissed it. "Superstition fuels small minds," he murmured, limping back to the inn, utterly unperturbed. Yet the whispers followed him, dragging through the trees like ghostly fingertips. By the time he reached his door, his excitement was fading into unease. Darlings, if only unease were where it ended. On the third day, the vigil began. The villagers gathered garlands of autumn leaves, weaving them carefully around the Watcher's shoulders. Lawrence observed from afar, secretly hoping to witness a sign, something that justified the whispers that now lived in the back of his mind. But nothing happened. No cosmic intervention. He wrote his conclusions. Legends are meant to bind, not to reveal. And so the stage was set for the climax. Day turned to night. Alone in his room, Lawrence found sleep impossible. He felt eyes on him, a gaze colder than frost, heavier than winter's rot. He glanced to the window. Nothing. The door. Nothing. His mind began shaping shadows into creatures. He laughed nervously. "Enough bourbon for tonight, old boy." Then came the creak. Wood grinding against wood, the unmistakable sound of movement. Outside? He dared not look. A rush of air filled the room, though every window was latched. Air heavy, humid, thick with the scent of decayed leaves. And Violet's favorite part. The knocking began. 3 knocks. Deliberate. Measured. His door shook, but there was no voice to accompany the sound. "Who's there?" he called, his courage eroding like sand through fingers. Silence. Then 3 more knocks, this time from the window. Closer. Clearer. No mistaking now. Something hollow began scratching at his sanctuary. When dawn stretched its pale fingers across the forest, the innkeeper made her rounds. She found Lawrence's room unlocked, but eerily still. Inside were his notes, scattered like autumn leaves, as though the wind had swept through. But there was no Lawrence, only a message scrawled upon the desk in faded ink. Or was it blood? It read, "Never disrespect the hallowed. Woodmere has never forgotten Lawrence. And the Watcher? Well, let's just say it stands a little prouder in the square." Have you ever wondered, dear listeners, what stands just outside your window? Or what watches while you sleep? Share your theories below. But remember, there's danger in testing what you don't understand. This has been Violet Nocturne, bidding you tread lightly and dream darker. Until next time.